So we just got our brand new ProRock 44 JL installed on our Jeep JL Wrangler. And so now we're going to go ahead and check things like the looseness of any of the components, steering components, such as the tie rod or the track bar. So Jim here is going to help us out with that. So Jim, what are some of the first steps we should be looking at?
Sure. Well, this is a good time to kind of check some things because you may have had looseness and you may not be aware of it. There's really a few critical points. So there's both ends of the drag link, so there's 2 points. Both ends of the tie rod, that's 2 more points, that's 4. And then both ends of the track bar, that's 6. And if you have someone sitting in the car, and just your wife, your friend, anybody can do this, and they just start the engine with power steering so it's running, and just do this with the steering wheel, just like an inch back and forth. Not a lot, but just rock it back and forth. And while that's happening, you come down here and put your thumb or your finger over the 2 pieces, because you may not see movement that's there, but you'll feel it. Okay. So, but just make sure you don't get, somebody doesn't go crazy with the steering and get your fingers pinched somewhere. But that's all. Just put your thumb over that, and you'll feel that difference in play.
So what kind of play are we looking for? I mean, I assume rotational movement is going to be okay. So what kind of movement are we looking for?
So what we're looking for, so each one of these points is basically a ball socket, okay? So there's a stem that's sticking up, that's the bolt head that you see here, and then inside here there's a ball socket. And so that wears. That's just part of normal wear. So as that ball wears, this ball socket can move back and forth.
So there's shifting movement.
There's shifting movement.
Okay.
So what it can happen is when you set the toe on your car, you're trying to make sure that the tires are pointed, not dead straight ahead. They need to be towed in just a little bit. And so if you have looseness, like say more than 5 or 10 thousandths or 15 thousandths, you start getting up to 20, 30 thousandths, that is going to start to allow the toe, you could set it up, but it's not really where you think it is. As soon as the vehicle starts to move forward, the toe changes. So toe in is designed to compensate for the pulling of the tires as they drag themselves down the pavement. So as you accelerate the car, the road is pulling the tires back.
Correct.
And so that toe in is compensating for the flex. It's actually, the tire's not actually steering out, it's just the tire where it meets the road is actually twisting.
Right.
And so that's what that toe does, to keep even tire wear.
Exactly. So ideally what we're talking about is on a rear wheel drive vehicle, which is, or primarily so on the Jeep, as you're moving forward, your front tires are actually pulling away and actually becoming straight. So the toe in actually allows, as Jim was saying, for good tire wear. If this were a front wheel drive vehicle, it'd be the opposite. You'd actually want to be toe out, so as the tires move forward, it pulls it in. But so what we're looking for now, I'm assuming just shifting up and down or shifting side to side?
It's usually going to be, you're going to feel side to side.
Side to side.
If it's successive, it'll also be up and down.
Right.
Because remember that ball socket is sitting in there, right? So if you push it far enough, it moves up and down, up and down. But usually you got severe wear at that point, right?
Well, why don't we go ahead and check this out? So I'll go ahead and start the engine, and then I'll turn the steering wheel, and you can point out to us some of these issues.
All right. That's plenty right there. So I'll start with where the drag link connects to the knuckle. So I just put my finger here, and I don't feel any play at all. It feels pretty good. Then I'm going to put my finger down here. Actually do it this way. And I'm trying to put my thumb on both the knuckle and the tie rod so I can feel any loose play there, and I don't feel any, which doesn't surprise me. It's a fairly new vehicle. So, but the abuse of off-road can accelerate wear. So let's check over here. Same thing on the tie rod. Feels good. Steering, got to get up here a little bit. Now I'm actually seeing some potential wear here, believe it or not. In fact, you can even probably see it on the camera. You can see this space. So that is moving up and down. So that means there's some wear there. So this one is already loose. Now this won't affect the toe setting, only the tie rod connections affect the toe setting, but this does affect, your overall drivability and steering feel, slop and dead spots and things like that could be affected by this. The last place to check is your track bar. So putting your finger here, and I'm feeling a little bit of movement, but there's a bushing in there, so a little bit of movement is normal. But it's a good time to look for severe movement because maybe a track bar bolt is loose. So let's check the other side of the track bar. Same thing, I'm just going to put my finger right here. I am seeing some movement. It's not severe, and it's mostly, I think, due to the bushing that's in the track bar. But we'll probably put a wrench on this bolt and double check it to be sure. Because these loosen up routinely. That's just part of owning the Jeep. That's it.
Awesome. So did I hear that we have some looseness going on, or?
Yeah. So the connection at the pitman arm,
Really?
at the steering gear, is a little loose. Okay. So yeah, I might, we can move forward with this because that won't affect tow. But if you're feeling any dead spots or getting some wandering, that could be a part of that problem.
Got it.
So, I think one of the things too is, when we articulate Jeeps severely, that takes that ball socket and hyperextends it. So, there's most of the factory ones have a piece of plastic in there.
Yes, they do.
And that plastic can cold flow, which means it actually just pushes itself out of the way. So that could be what caused that. So you do a lot of heavy flexing, it could accelerate that wear. So that's just the kind of thing you got to watch out for. You're using the vehicle in a harsher manner, so it's going to require more maintenance and parts are going to wear out faster.
Okay, so what do we want to check out next then?
Okay, so the next thing we want to do is, since we think the tie rod's solid, we want to go ahead and set the toe.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people think, well, I didn't change the tie rod, so why do I need to reset the toe? Well, you changed the axle, and the axle has the knuckles and the steering connected to it. Even if that axle is just a 1/16 of an inch skinnier or wider, it's going to affect that toe setting. So a lot of people don't think of that, and then they're driving around for a long time with poor toe settings, which may affect their handling, may create death wobble, and certainly eats up tires. So
Absolutely.
We're going to touch that. So to do that, we're going to find some good measuring points on your tires.
Okay.
All right. The tread lugs on all tires are not identical all the way around. So the spacing here between these two lugs and here is going to be different somewhere else on the tire.
Right.
And that's done to prevent harmonic noises and vibrations and keep a quiet running tire. So if you're going to have to use a lug, you got to look carefully at the tire and make sure that the lug that you're choosing is close to the center line as possible and doesn't deviate too much. I think we'll go with this center lug here. They're fairly regular. So we'll get a lug that's at the 9 o'clock position on both sides. And we'll draw a line across that lug and then we'll measure to that line.
Okay, you heard him. We're going to go ahead and grab a floor jack, lift up the Jeep just enough so that we can get the front tires rotating around, find a center line on both tires so that we can measure the total distance up front and on the back side of the tire and see what the difference is, if any at all. Ideally, we'd like to see about a 1/16 of an inch inward to get proper tow on a vehicle like this. So, here we go.
Let's just draw a line right here. Like that. This one's in a good spot right here.
Okay, this looks pretty good.
Okay, right there. Now we just need a tape measure. So Eddie, you go on that side.
You got it.
And I'm still at 68 and 5/16.
Okay, let's try the other side.
69 and an eighth. So we're towed in way too much.
All right, I got myself my 15 millimeter wrench. I'm gonna go ahead and loosen up this clamp nut. So we'll go ahead and here, I'll let you read off the numbers because you have them in your head.
Go a little more. More. You hold it. We can get a better measurement.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm getting 68 and 5/8. Let's go check the back. Okay, I got 68 and 3/4. We're very close. So we just got to move it a little more. You hold it. A little more. Hold it. Right there. Stop. Okay, I think we're good. I got about a little less than 1/8 of an inch of toe in, which I think is great. So what I shoot for is 3/32 to 1/8. So a lot of factory cars call for 3/32. I they have smaller tires. Bigger tires drag harder. So a little extra toe in, I think, is helpful with the bigger tire.
Awesome. So that should help out a lot. I just have to go ahead and retighten up this clamp, and we should be good to go. All right. That's a good adjustment to be making. So I'll be right back. I'm going to go take it for a spin. So we just went for a spin, and as you can see right here, our steering wheel is off a little bit to the right, and we're gonna have to get that fixed, because if we don't, the Jeep is gonna think we're in a spin or a slide, and it's gonna wanna correct for it and kick off things like our anti-lock brakes. So let's get that figured out right now. So now that we've got our tie rod set, we actually have our steering off just a bit. So I'm gonna make an adjustment to the drag link, and in order to do that, you're gonna want a 15mm wrench, just like we used before, to make the adjustment. Here we go, there's this clamp nut that we're gonna need to loosen. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a turn to this adjustment. Getting close?
Getting close. Slow down, stop.
So now that we've got the steering wheel recentered, or at least close to it, gonna go ahead and tighten up this nut again. Alignment 101. Tracks on the other side.
Those are big flakes.
Yeah. So we left Southern California this afternoon, and we knew we were going to get some snow if we didn't get home at a reasonable hour. Certainly if we got home by Saturday, it was going to be measured in feet. So it's actually a Saturday morning, 12:42. We were hoping we would beat this stuff, but as you can see, we didn't do a very good job. We're kind of in it. I can hardly see. Well, actually, I can see a lot of little white dots everywhere.
Yeah, you just can't see the road.
I can't see the road.